Most of us walk through life fearing the one final moment. We avoid the edge. We check the locks. We pray for safety. But for one man, the edge was a frequent companion. Imagine a life where death doesn't just visit, it stalks you. A life where the sky falls, the earth opens, and fire consumes everything you touch. And yet, you remain. This is not a myth. This is the anatomical study of defiance. The story of Frane Selak, a man the world called the unluckiest human alive, until the day he became its most fortunate survivor.
The truth awaits in the dark. True story.
Welcome to the Verdict Files. Today, we examine case number 10, a file that defies the laws of probability, a journey through 7 catastrophes, and one final, impossible victory. The air is cold. The year is 1962. A train is rattling through a freezing canyon in Croatia. Inside, Frane Selak, a simple music teacher, is watching the snow blur against the window. Suddenly, the rhythm of the tracks changes. A screech of tearing metal. The world tilts. The train derails and plunges into the icy waters of a river below. Panic. Darkness. The water is so cold it feels like knives. 17 people perish in the wreckage. But Frane, with a broken arm and hypothermia, claws his way to the bank. He survived. But the shadow was just beginning to grow. 1 year later, Frane is on a plane, his first and last flight. Above the clouds, tragedy strikes again. A malfunctioning door is ripped from the fuselage. The cabin depressurizes. Frane is sucked out into the void, falling thousands of feet towards the earth. In any other story, this is the end. But Frane Selak did not hit the rocks. He landed in a haystack. He woke up in a hospital with minor injuries. 19 others were not so lucky. The world began to notice. Was he blessed? Or was he a magnet for chaos? In 1966, a bus Frane is riding skids off a bridge into a river. 4 people drown. Frane swims to shore with only cuts and bruises. In 1970, his own car catches fire while he is driving. He leaps out seconds before the fuel tank explodes. 3 years later, in 1973, another car fire. This time, a faulty fuel pump douses the engine in hot oil. Flames shoot through the air vents. Frane loses most of his hair, but his life remains intact. For 20 years, the shadow stayed silent. Frane began to believe the curse was broken. He walked the streets of Zagreb, a man who had stared into the abyss 5 times and walked away. But the abyss was not finished with him. The date is 1995. A bus in Zagreb strikes him. He survives. 1 year later, in 1996, While driving on a mountain road, a truck forces his car through a guardrail. Frane leaps from the car, clinging to a tree as he watches his vehicle plummet 300 feet into a gorge 7 times. The train, the plane, the bus, the fires, the fall. Frane Selak became a living legend, a man who lived in the crosshairs of fate. He was 73 years old, exhausted by the fight, living on a modest pension. And then, on a quiet afternoon in 2003, the victory arrived. For the first time in 40 years, Frane bought a lottery ticket. He didn't expect much. He had already won the greatest lottery of all, the lottery of survival. But when the numbers appeared on the screen, the world stood still. Frane Selak had won $1.1 million. The man who had been hunted by death for 4 decades was now a millionaire. But Frane did something that shocked the world even more than his survival. He didn't buy a fleet of cars. He didn't build a fortress. He sold his luxury home, gave his money away to family and friends, and moved back to a simple house. He realized that money cannot buy what he had already found. As we close this file, we are left with a question that forensics cannot answer. Is luck a random frequency, or is it earned through the sheer will to exist? Frane Selak passed away in 2016 at the age of 86. Not in a wreck, not in a fire, but in his bed, in peace. He proved that even when the shadow is long, the sun eventually finds a way to break through. Stay safe, watch your step, and remember, your luck can change in the blink of an eye. This has been the Verdict Files. If you value this deep investigation into the mysteries of the human spirit, follow us for the next file. The light is closer than you think.
The truth awaits in the dark.